Okay, we have all the board members that are coming tonight on, so I'm gonna call the meeting of the Patricia A. Hannaford Career Center Board together. It is now 5:03. Judd, can we start with you?
Hi there, Judd in room A208 with a board member from the town of Bridgeport.
Great, thank you, Judd. Lorraine?
Lorraine Morse, representing Addison Central School District.
Kim?
Kim Farnham from New Haven. I'm the community at large member from the Mount Abraham School District.
Nick? Thank you, Kim.
Nick Colston from Shoreham, representing ACSD.
Missy?
Missy Beckwith, representing the Workforce Investment Board.
And a surprise, Steve Rooney.
Hey there, Steve Rooney. Quarter of 6.
Oh, okay, because I thought you were playing the first trombone tonight.
I am,
why-
but I've got a little bit of time. So.
Okay, thanks, Steve. And I'm Suzanne Buck. I'm from the ACSD board and I'm chair. For administrators, Austin, sorry, you just stepped away, but.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you're welcome.
Austin,
Sorry,
can-
Suzanne. Yeah, sorry. Austin Haynes, business manager.
Dana,
Dana Peterson, Superintendent Director.
and for guests, we have Patrice,
Teresa Alexander, Administrative Assistant for HCC.
Brenda,
Brenda Logie, PHCC School Counselor.
and Gretchen. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Gretchen Bailey from the town of Panton.
Thank you. Dana, the next item was welcome to new faculty, but I don't see any new faces on.
Patrice, do you
Dana,
know if, yes, Patrice, do you know if Leslie has, you know what, he told me he had an appointment. A PT appointment, so I don't know if he's going to be able to make it and join us tonight.
okay.
He said he was going to try. Does he have the link, Patrice, do you know?
Yes, I sent it to everybody.
Okay.
May I have a motion to approve the agenda as printed, please?
So moved.
Judd, seconded by Nick.
Who moved it?
Judd did,
Oh,
and then
okay. All right.
and Nick.
Thank-
Is there any discussion around the agenda? Hearing and seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Hi.
Any opposed? Motion's passed. Do we have any visitor comments tonight? I'm seeing a head shake, a no from Brenda, but Gretchen, I can't tell if you have a hand raised or anything.
No,
No, okay. Dana, any correspondence?
None that I am aware of.
Okay. Under the consent agenda, the minutes of July 28th, does anybody need those read aloud or are we all set with them?
You mean those excellent minutes from July 28th?
Those were very nice. Thank you very much.
Motion to
Lorraine,
approve.
who has the position that doesn't want it because she thought she didn't have to do anything.
Exactly. I'm
Nick,
emailing our clerk as soon as I get off the phone, off the meeting and say, where are you?
you do that. I'm also writing things down for you, Lorraine.
That's fine.
Nick, do you have the monthly accounts
Did we
information?
approve the minutes?
They were in the
They're in the
agenda.
consent.
They were in the consent agenda, so we're all set.
Okay, good. I do, I just got them. Hot off the press. Building and equipment reserve. 4,300. General fund, $304,620.82. The revolving fund was spent 12,090.40. And payrolls, my goodness, we have a lot of them. Payrolls, we have one from June 18th for 288,351.97. We have another one from July the 2nd, 28,450.06. Another one from July 16th for 31,793.79. And another one from July 30th of 31,826.40. And then in August 13th, 31,143.32. And I guess the next one will be back up to full speed.
Yep, thank you. Moving on, the draft mission and vision statement. Did everyone get that and get a chance to look at it? So, no one has, Missy says, yes, great work to all who worked on this. Thank you, Missy.
Thank you, Missy.
One question I had on the vision sentence on the second line says, open-minded citizens of our local, national, and global communities. I was wondering if our should be there. Local, national, and global communities. That was a question I had. And Missy, where are you with space-time STEM?
Hold on, I'll look.
Yeah.
Are you in the kind of the cursive printing? I think that's just some general information missing.
I was just looking through what the written document was, and I believe in the mission it said STEM, and I'm not sure everyone would know what that stands for, but I can find it to be specific.
Okay, I believe that the two statements that we were asked to look at was the draft vision, the top one that's in bold, and then just the bold part that says draft mission.
Okay, sorry.
No, that's fine, because now I see where you see STEM. And I think that was something that they had used before, and some of the feedback that they got was that the mission statement needed to be one paragraph and not multi-paragraphs.
Are you finished, Missy?
Yes, Nick?
Nick, I'm delighted to see that in the mission statement, the last phrase is while ensuring equity for all participants, following our discussion last night. I only have one little suggestion, and that's in the mission statement. We provide all or every or each student with rigorous hands-on. That's my only suggestion. And I'm willing to be argued out.
Do you have a thought about which one of those words would be best, or no opinion on that?
I think all is probably the best.
Okay.
But no, I just think it reinforces the emphasis on students.
Mhm.
That's my only thought.
And it goes back to that equity piece, right? We say all participants at the end there.
Yeah, yeah. But that's, maybe every student or each student. I'm open, Jay, to what.
Why don't
Yeah,
we
maybe-
just take that under advisement, Nick, and let it go back to the committee and they'll make a determination. Your feedback, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to not wordsmith it tonight.
Yeah.
But to gather feedback from board members about what they want the overall focus to be, and then we'll take that back to the.
I agree. I think both are excellent, both drafts.
Great.
It's only a minor comment.
Sure.
Thank you.
Your hand up?
No, I was scratching my head, sorry.
No, I asked Kim if she had her hand up.
Oh,
No. Lorraine, any comments?
Well, I was just gonna comment on, if, I guess he doesn't want us to wordsmith tonight, so I don't know whether I should comment on Nick's or not. Is it okay to say something?
sure, absolutely.
Oh, go
Okay,
ahead.
no, I understand where you're coming from there, Nick. However, I'm not sure that all students, and correct me if I mean, maybe somebody can tell me. I'm not sure that all students are engaged in community partnerships. I don't know whether they all are or not, or if they're all involved with project-based learning opportunities. Now, they probably are in that instance, but I'm not sure if they're all involved with community partnerships. And if that is the case, then all wouldn't necessarily be the correct word to put in there.
Yeah, no, you have a point. But for me, it was a general overriding mission statement for all students. But
Right.
yeah. Happy to leave it to.
Are you set? Are you all set? Judd? Judd has nothing. Kim, nothing. Steve Rooney?
Missy wrote something.
Okay. And Steve Rooney, do you have anything?
No, I'm all set for now.
Oh, Steve made it.
Said it'll only be here for a little bit.
Okay. The only other thing I have was I was just thinking that in the actual mission statement that it just seems some of the words kind of led you to think repetitive, hands-on and project-based, to me are hands-on activities. So I was in the mindset of short and concise is better than lengthy and wordy, but then I was also the one that suggested that we go from 2 paragraphs to 1. So, so I can be beaten up and told that it's okay to be wordy, but I like things short and concise, but those were my only thoughts. Does anybody else have anything? Missy does.
I would just comment that to me, hands-on and project-based are two completely different things. Hands-on could be a one-time instance where somebody's doing something hands-on. Project-based to me seems like there is a goal, a start and a finish.
Maybe a team.
And maybe a T.
Maybe a team.
Yes, that's true.
Hands-on could be individual.
Correct.
Yeah, that's true.
Let me ask the board, are there any areas, topics, or focal points that are missing that you notice about the Career Center that you have in mind that are not captured in these 2 statements? Because that's really important for the mission and vision team to work on. So if there's something that is a glaring omission, please provide that feedback so that Jay and I can take it back to that committee and figure out how to work it in. and Brenda's been involved in that committee as well, so I'm trying to think of who else from here. Christina is on that committee and drawing a blank. Lorraine, you're on
Do
the
it,
committee,
Dana,
right?
you can do it.
Lorraine,
Yes, I am Dana.
Dana, when you, the second, or Jay, the second page with IB learner profile, are you looking for feedback on that comment? When you say, should there be something specific about developing internationally minded people? Or is that,
No, not necessarily, Nick. That was one of the, we used the IB learner profile to build some of this and to put in some of our ideas. And it actually, the learner profile talks more specifically about understanding and accepting differences, being a part of your local, national, and global communities. So there are parts of it that are included in there. And I think the committee felt like we had covered enough of what the profile focuses on, that what we have there, seemed good to us. So.
no, I think you're right. I agree.
and Krista and Jay linked the IB profile there, so these are basically the minutes from the Community Engagement Committee meeting, and so that IB learner profile, I think, is a hot link, and you can go there and see that profile. So these will be on the website as the minutes for the last Community Engagement Committee meeting. So we're already discussing those from down below, so take care of two tasks at once.
Okay, good.
So is there any more suggestions to go back to the committee? If not, can I have a motion to send the draft back to committee with the suggestions, revisions that were noted?
So moved.
Moved by Kim, seconded by Nick, to send the draft mission and vision statements back to committee with suggestions and corrections, alterations as noted. Is there any more conversation?
That's how you want the motion to go, with suggestions and alterations? How about just suggestions?
Suggestions, yeah.
Right, suggestions.
Okay, thanks.
So I see no other hands or, oh, Nick's got a thumb up. Are you voting on it already? All right, all in favor, please say aye or raise your thumbs.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion's passed. Policy 2.3 financial conditions. I'm gonna say Austin, that's you?
Good guess, Suzanne. So this is a quarterly policy we looked at 3 months ago, and I'll just read it as it's written here. Shouldn't take too long. So the policy opens with the statement, with respect to the actual ongoing financial condition and activities, the superintendent shall not cause or allow the development of financial jeopardy or material deviation of actual expenditures from board priorities and established budgets. Further, without limiting the scope of the foregoing by this enumeration, the superintendent shall not. And then there's a list of different directives. So number one is expend more funds than have been received in this fiscal year to date, unless the debt guideline is met. So at the end of our fiscal year, which closed June 30th, 2021, we have expended $3,566,770 of our board approved budget of $3.8 million. So it's $3,864,751 in the general fund. So one thing, or a couple of pieces to note. So when we account for some encumbrances that are showing $61,028, at the moment, our books are reading that $236,954 remains for expenditures. So a couple of caveats to note on that number. One is that our CRF grants, which we received as part of the COVID relief funding, about $114,000 of repurposed salaries were pushed from the general fund down to a special revenue fund. So if you take the $236,954 less the $114,000 that we repurposed, we would then be left with about $123,000 underspent in the general fund. There are, as I mentioned, some encumbrances that are sitting on the books as well. Those are likely tied to purchase orders that I need to close out and reopen for the new fiscal year. I'm still processing fiscal year 21 activity, so it's likely in the next week or two I can close those out in its entirety. But if you were to back out the encumbrances and were to assume that all of those encumbrances were for fiscal year 21, which they're not, we would be left with $52,000 unspent or underspent. That might be a little confusing. I'll pause there for a second if there are any questions about those numbers. And hearing none, I'll move on to number 2. So number 2 reads, incurred debt in amount greater than can be repaid by certain otherwise unencumbered revenues within 60 days. We haven't touched our line of credit since December of 2020 when we paid it down in full. Number 3 says you use any long-term revenues other than those expressed in item 7 below. So this basically states that the Building and Equipment Reserve Fund is used for capital expenditures. And as of the end of June 2021, the BRF balance was just shy of $62,000. Number 4 says conduct interfund shifting in amounts greater than can be restored to a condition of discrete fund balances by certain otherwise unencumbered revenues within 45 days. So in its entirety for the fiscal year 21, we spent just shy of $87,000 of $120,000 budgeted for health related costs. So that's our HRA and HSA expenditures. Number 5 reads fail to settle payroll and debts in a timely manner. None to report during this period. Number 6 reads allow tax payments or other governmental ordered payments or filings to be overdue or inaccurately filed. So nothing of significance to report here. Number 7 reads make a single purchase or commitment of greater than $5,000 in the birth. No activity to report here. Number 8 says acquire, encumber, or dispose of real property. Nothing to report here. And then number 9 says fail to aggressively pursue receivables after a reasonable grace period. So our largest receivable sitting on the books at the end of fiscal year 21 was our second Perkins payment. We're in the process of closing that grant out. Another piece which I touched on in this section is we're working through our gear grant expenditures, and performance for that grant runs through September of next year, so we have some wiggle room to work with. And that's about all I have for now.
Good.
May I have a motion to approve
So moved.
policy 2.3? Oops, thank you, Nick. Seconded by Kim. So it's been moved and seconded to accept policy 2.3, financial conditions and activities. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no. Motion's passed. Thank you. And Missy, thank you for your written comment. Informational agenda. Did everyone get copies of the reports that were in Dana's board pack or board, whatever you want to call it? So there was the assistant director report. This facilities report is missing because there was no meeting in August. Budget and policy just met last night. We went over the community engagement information. There's a business office report, the assistant director report, the adult tech ed report. Does anybody have any comments or questions or concerns?
Suzanne, just a clarification. I think we did include the last budget and policy minutes from the 27th as well. So there may not have been one from last night. That would have been too quick, but
Right.
we can include the last B&P meeting from July 27th for acceptance.
Does anybody have any questions or thoughts or is that you, Nick?
Yes, please. I found the Wendy Pratt IB update very timely and helpful. It seems like it's going ahead well.
Thank you, Nick.
And the other question I had, the other comment I had was, my goodness, all these, all this money coming in.
Oh, I know.
In your report, Dana,
Yes.
who is going to lead this HCC team? We have a lot going on.
Can you clarify your question, Nick? I'm not exactly sure what you're referring to.
Well, you've got this PHCC Collins Co-op Learning Project.
Yes.
And you say that we expect this grant will help the Vermont Labor Grant.
Yeah.
Earlier, the focus will be on
Workforce development. Yep.
So is somebody going to lead this, or are you going to do it yourself?
No, I'm not. David Roberts and Len Schmidt are working directly with students and with our partners to make those placements. So David and Len have been instrumental in identifying students. And this summer, for example, we have 5 students placed on co-op, 3 of whom are benefiting directly from this grant. So that just gives you an idea of how spread out the responsibilities are. And we meet periodically to review both the grants and the number of students that are placed. It's also tied in, Nick, to our Perkins reporting. And even though we're not using Perkins funding for some of these things, Perkins does ask us to report on the number of students that we're able to place in co-op and number of partners that we have. And one of our goals under Perkins 5 was to expand the number of co-op placements with our students. And so we think that we're doing a pretty good job of making progress on that. That's a 3-year plan. We're in year 2, and we'll be doing an update for the end of this fiscal year for FY23 to do some more reporting on how we're meeting some of the targets that the Perkins and AOE, that the Perkins expectations and AOE guidelines, or I guess they're negotiated agreements, how we're doing with respect to that as a healthy career center. So I want to report at this point in time that a lot of these initiatives are actually helping us to address goals that are set both at AOE and that are emphasized within the Perkins reauthorization that goes through 2024.
Okay, good. So it's all coordinated.
Say that again.
So it's all coordinated, it's all closely collaborated.
Yes, it's close collaboration, right? And we work with our partners and we meet periodically once a month usually.
Good, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So Dana, tell Wendy, thank you very much for her report. With our current personnel change, will Wendy have anybody helping her with that whole piece, or is that still up for discussion?
There are a couple of thoughts that we have. We're not prepared to announce anything at the moment, but there are some things in the works, and we are fairly confident that we can provide her with the support that she needs to continue moving some of that work forward.
Thank you.
So, she's been a great collaborator, and she keeps me and Jay in the loop. We meet periodically to address needs. And in fact, this Friday, we have an all-staff training for as part of our professional development with an IB training, so that Wendy put together for us.
Thank you, Dana.
You're welcome.
So, Dana, I don't know if you can speak to this. There was an email that came out just before the meeting about school district authority to require masks.
Yes.
And I went to the link and the link didn't take me anywhere. So I was just wondering if you'd seen the memo and what it exactly says or doesn't say?
I thought that it was a repost of a memo that we received earlier that I can speak to.
Okay.
I didn't have enough time, quite honestly, Suzanne, to check that link before this meeting. I had a few other things that I was doing. I did see it, but here's my understanding, and if I'm wrong, I will certainly admit that and correct my understanding. But we received notification over a week ago regarding the recommendation from the AOE and the Department of Health that personnel should be wearing masks. Now, the governor's executive order for creating the state of emergency has been rescinded. So within his cabinet, there is no longer the force of law, but there are recommendations, and that each school is encouraged to adopt a stance for the health and well-being of all of its employees and students to maintain a safe and healthy environment. So we were encouraged to follow guidance. They can't tell us that we have to do that. I don't think that any board action is required if we are implementing the recommendations that are offered by the state in terms of the Department of Health and the AOE. But if the message indicates otherwise, I will let you know.
Okay, great.
But normally, that is an administrative practice that can be exercised. It does not require the board to take that action. So.
Great, thank you.
And I think I updated you on my communication with the rest of the faculty and staff. And we had unanimous support when I brought this question up last week for making sure that masks were going to be a practice at any of the locations that fall under the supervision of the Career Center board or administration. And so, as you can see, the three of us in this room are masked, and all of our staff, when they are back in the building, will be wearing masks when they are in a common space with someone else. So there are no distancing requirements, but they are asking us to follow the contact tracing that we needed to do last spring and last fall. And that reporting will be helpful if we get contacted. We did have to fill out, actually, there was a glitch for the 3 regional technical centers, but we will have to fill out emergency contact information again this year, so that if the Department of Health calls us with a case that indicates that there are close contacts with us, we can be reached quickly and respond appropriately to take the action to keep everybody safe. So other than that, Suzanne, I think we're using common sense to be able to open school and have the greatest amount of in-person instruction possible without placing any undue burdens on individuals.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Moving on, unless somebody has some other questions on any of the reports. We have anything related to board operation that people might have a comment about, or?
Oh, Suzanne?
Yeah. Oh, Judd had.
Yeah, may I go first? I just wanted to highlight, I think everybody knows, but just so that we're on MCTV, I wanted to put in yet another plug for our national champion in culinary, Nima Megrin, how do I say it? Mayrigan, who had a nice article in the Addison Independent. And I just want to compliment again on camera Nima and the culinary staff for helping him achieve such a recognition. So congratulations to everybody. Thanks, Suzanne.
Great. Judd?
In light of the Delta variant and the new mask requirements and whatever unknown is headed our way, are we going to go back to like fully assuming that we're all going to be on Zoom, or are we going to still consider a hybrid model for this?
So, Judd, because the governor's executive order expired, we, all of us, can stay on Zoom. We need to have one person at the physical location should we have guests.
Great, thank you.
So everyone can do whatever. It does get more difficult when you have multiple places, for people, but tonight seems to be working well. We can hear each other, so that is where we are at currently. As you mentioned, with the Delta variant, things could change.
Okay, thank you.
And there is currently no restriction on the public or board members or others, members of the Career Center being present in a room. So we are accommodating that. We have masks available should somebody need that. And what I did not do is we should do a contact tracing list for this evening. So let me just circulate this because there are 3 of us that should one of us come down with a with COVID or the variant, we should have a list for this evening. So this is our contact tracing for. Thank you for reminding me. 18.
Nick, would you like to take policy 4.1 governing style?
He's muted.
I muted myself so that we respected the time limits. I haven't done this for a couple of years, so we moved quickly through the agenda. I thought it was a very good meeting, and I thought the discussion over the mission and vision statements was great, and they've obviously done a fantastic job. And the information agenda, as usual, was very complete and interesting. So all in all, I think it was a good meeting.
Great, thank you, Nick. So I would like a motion in a moment to go into executive session for negotiations and personnel. Dana?
Yes.
When we go into executive session, can I have the board for about 5 minutes and then bring you in?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I will step out. Judd will stay here, and Gretchen and I will go out into the hall or go downstairs or something.
Okay.
And then Judd can come get me. Okay.
Sounds good.
And can Patrice move us in? Well, Patrice can put the board into a breakout room, correct?
Yes, and you could put A208 in that same breakout room. And we will exit because there's no way to do it separately.
Okay.
Okay, so Gretchen and I are leaving.
All right, thank you. May I have a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of negotiations and personnel?
So move.
Thank you, Judd.
Second.
Thank you, Lorraine. So at this point, Patrice is moving us. Thank you.
Not sure how I click to join that.
I think Judd